Hey everyone, thank you for joining me today. Today I have the Cold Steel Frenzy. This was one of the 4 knives sent to me by the client. So I'm going to start with customizing this one. Now this blade it's a big blade. We're looking at 12.5, a hair under 12.5 inches, so this thing is really serious business. But it's actually a really comfortable knife and really light for the size of it. I'll throw the measurements of the blade and total length and stuff like that up on the screen. It has the triad locking mechanism, which is on a good chunk of the Cold Steel blade lineups. So it's kind of what they're known for. Really solid lockup. I mean, there's like really no play. Now this blade has thumb studs to open the blade itself. It's got a really good quality blade steel on here. It's S35VN, which will hold its edge very well. It's got the gray and black layered G10 scales with some pretty serious texturing here, as you guys can see, even for access to the thumb studs here. So it's really cool. Again, really comfortable. It's a little on the thin side, but you can get a pretty good grip on this thing. And to close this blade, you just push down on the triad locking bar here, and fairly simple. You don't have to put too much pressure, but closes nicely, and it snaps shut really well. A good distance from the scales here, so that's one thing I do like. It does not have a deep carry pocket clip, as you guys can see here, and I'm assuming it's because it's such a large blade. It's not too big of a deal to have a little bit sticking out, just so you can fit a good chunk of the blade itself in your pocket. And I've stuck this in my pocket. It's actually not too bad. It doesn't take up a lot of room, but obviously when you slide your hand in your pocket, it kind of rubs up against this texturing on the G10, but it doesn't cut or anything. It's not that it's uncomfortable or anything. It's just, you know, the knife is there. But other than that, really cool blade. Can't wait to get started on it. So what I'll be doing to this blade is adding a little Snaggletooth here that was sent to me from the client. So we'll be adding this thing on instead of the thumb studs. And then we'll be changing the G10 handles to just an all black simple G10 here. Let's get to taking this thing apart and see what it looks like on the inside. Alright, so here it is all taken apart. We got 2 copper washers on the blade itself with some really thin nylon ones. And then I'll just be changing these scales, which are pretty basic. There's a lot of holes in them, but I'll just have to make sure to line up these holes properly so everything fits up nicely and works the way it should. So now that it's all taken apart, let's get to customizing it. Alright you guys, here it is all customized. Almost actually, just missing the snaggletooth on the blade, but I figured I'd show you guys how to put that on the blade. But first, there was an issue with the previous material, but thanks to the great customer service from Jantz, the knife supply company that I go to for some things, they were able to replace the material for the scales ASAP. So thanks to Jantz for that. Let's put on the Snaggletooth real quick, just so you guys can see how that goes on. Now when installing the Snaggletooth, always make sure the tooth itself is facing forward on the blade. That's how I install it, just so I don't get confused on which way the Snaggletooth should go. But if it's your first time putting it on, always make sure the Snaggletooth is facing forward. So we'll put the screw through the Snaggletooth right here, and we'll put it through the thumb stud hole. Then we have a washer, in this case a black washer. It's got black hardware on it, but that's how it came in the kit. They have a threaded hex little piece right here that will act as a thumb stud on the other side. And before I put the threaded hex nut on, we're going to put some blue Loctite, and just a little bit. We don't want to go crazy with it, because we all know what happens when you go crazy with the Loctite. But I prefer the blue stuff anyway. It's just a lot easier. It holds everything in place, but it's a lot easier when you want to take stuff off. Some manufacturers just go crazy with the red Loctite, so I don't know what the deal is with that, but I prefer blue because it makes life a lot easier. Now this kit came with a little Allen wrench, so what I'm going to do is hold this flat down against the top of the blade, and then also the hex, and then tighten the screw on the opposite side. That way you just have a good solid connection. So there we go. That's how easy that is. So again, you have your thumb stud and then your Snaggletooth. So now that that's on, I'll talk a little bit about the scales. And as you guys saw in the video, I coated this thing with a lot of tung oil. Now I like to use the tung oil because it smells a lot better than the linseed oil. Linseed oil smells like fish, so when I tried the tung oil, it smelled like fresh cut wood. So that was a super easy decision for me. So I switched over to the tung oil because not only does it smell good, but it absorbs into the material really well, which brings out the vibrant color. So if this wasn't black, if it was a different color, it would really pop. And it also protects the scales themselves. So tung oil is a big help when I'm customizing my knives. So if you guys are looking for something to polish up your scales, I highly recommend tung oil. As you guys can see, this is a black G10 style material, but it's really interesting because the layers actually, it's kind of rubberized. So it's a rubberized, then a harder plastic, and then rubberized again, but it gives it a really interesting feel. And I really like the way it looks, especially that layered look. Almost looks like wood, or a type of wood grain. And up against the original one, as you guys can see, it's a lot darker, but it's similar, but it's black. So I think it looks really good. And on the original, it's very square. And on the new scale, I just kind of rounded some things off, just so it's a little bit more comfortable and just gives it a cooler look. Custom scales are finished, and I think they turned out great. Let me know what you guys think of these down in the comments below. So enough talking about it. Let's put this thing together and see what it looks like. Alright, so here it is all put together, you guys. I think it turned out pretty good. This looks really good. It's definitely a knife Batman would use. And again, I just really like that subtle look to the G10. It's got that grain, layered look. Just really, really neat. And it looks good with the Snaggletooth on there. It looks even more aggressive than it did before. So everything works. The blade is centered, so I did my job right. That always lets me know if I did a good job on the knife. And the lockup is really nice, solid, it ain't gonna go anywhere. And this knife is complete. So I'm sure the client is gonna love to get this knife back. I'll probably try the Snaggletooth myself, see if it actually deploys the blade. I don't see why not. But the nice thumb stud that the hex bolt there provides is pretty comfortable. It's got some sharp edges to it, but nothing crazy. But it works, it functions, and everything about this blade is big and scary. So just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Feel free to share this video, and feel free to leave me a comment down below of what you guys think of this. And I'll see you guys on the next one.